Okay, I gotta get ready to clap to actually pair it together. So I rewatched Link Click after like the third PV came out. The third season PV came out, and I just had a bunch of like inspiration to just rewatch the series.
Quick disclaimer with a big audio change. I might be a theorist, but my theories never really land or stick. So I don't really expect this theory to be or to actually happen, but I just think if it did, it'd be really cool. And I could see it happening, but like it's probably not. But like, yeah. And I'm not really connected with the link click theory like community. So if some of these are wrong, or if I said anything that's like wouldn't make sense, yeah, I'm not really heavy duty in it. So yeah, and if there's any of those mistakes, feel free to tell me, or if you have anything to like rebuttal what I say, then tell me in the comments, so yeah, I hope you enjoy watching this theory video with questionable audio.
You're gonna get it in a notebook like form, kind of like a presentation, but without being online. Because I don't feel like finding all the clips. 2, I don't want to deal with the problem like I had to with the last video. And just to make sure I don't have to, I will not be doing it. Because I was supposed to post a video before the last video I made, and I had it done. I just thought it'd be cool to do it this way. Let me get my pointer. I guess we'll use this. We have to start off this whole theory with Emma. I got a little sketch of her too. Doodle, I was gonna do more, but this is the only one you're gonna see. So, I have plot points listed down on like everything I need. It's just going to be like for me to remember and come up with it. So just because there's a plot point there doesn't mean anything. Anyway, let me get into it before this video is 10,000 hours long. Let's get this theory started from Emma, just like in the beginning of the series, just like the first episode when I was seeing it. The big plot point: Guang did not seem surprised at all about her death. I swear he didn't flinch. It happened and he was like, "Ooh, well, I guess this is how it goes. I guess this is how it happens." And of course, me being like, looking like, it's kind of weird. Like, someone just died because of the actions of your friend and you don't even care. It's weird.
Quick intervention. It also could just be that he's hiding his emotion. So you might want to take this point with a grain of salt, but it doesn't really heavily affect the theory. This is mainly just the thing that got me to start thinking about the theory. So yeah, take this with a grain of salt though. Also, the only way this would really work would be if Lou had a secret photo that was closer to the time of the actual her death, because I'm pretty sure it would be too long in the future for him to see. So the only way that would really work is if he was not telling the truth about his actual powers and he can see longer than 12, which could be a thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has something where like every time he uses it, like he uses less, or if he uses a whole bunch, he can't see as much time in the future. It's actually something I've thought of, but that's not really important. So I was considering if I should leave this in or not, but I decided to leave it in because even though this isn't really relevant, it won't really be something I can use, it still up and marks the beginning in my thought process for why this theory was even started. So I wanted to leave it in and include it.
Let's see why that's the case. Now you might be like, why could this be? Well, it could be because he saw the future of that photo. He could have seen the future of the photo and would have known that she died. But then it kind of leads to another question. Well, if he saw the photo, if he saw her die, then why, like how? Because according to us, he changed it there and then. How did he know that he saw her die? Like, how did he know? how would that work? Because he wasn't there before. Which would mean that which could mean that he didn't truly cause her death. If there's grammar mistakes, because I don't think that's how you spell originally. Spelling is not my strong point. Let me tell you that. Spelling is not my strong point. But it could be because he caused the death originally. He didn't. Okay, he didn't cause death originally. It could be because of that. But kept searching and thinking, and now I was like, hold up. What if he saw the future of the death? And what if that future was something he already saw? Like in his future, he already saw Chang go ahead of time. He already saw him do it before he even jumped in. What if he already saw it? And so that's kind of back to the first point, in a sense where it's like, what if he already saw him go back in time? And so this leads me to believe Lu Guang can seem the final timeline theory. Welcome to why it's Lu's final time to go back, everyone.
Sorry, I just have to pause again because we're like 8 minutes in this video and I'm just getting into really in the video. Like, this is sad. This is sad. And it would have been way longer if I didn't cut out basically most of the stuff there. Oh my, this is sad.
Let's get into it. So, I did say it's Lu Guang can see the final timeline. So, what's it mean by the final timeline? Okay, so what type of future am I talking about? Yes, we got the little bubble and the little everything. So we're going to go plot point to plot point and track this down and see if we can hone down and find out what I'm really talking about. What would cause Lu Guang to know that he can't go back anymore? Now, this is under the what type of future tab. So this leads me to be like, why does he say it's his last time to go back in Bright Arc? And so I was thinking, what could it be? So let's go back to when I said he saw the future of the photo with her. So we'll go back to Lu Guang looking quite impressed after seeing Emma's death on the news. He didn't seem like he cared too much, like he already knew, which goes back to, well, what if in this case scenario, the photo showed him that Chang would go back and do all that stuff, and he saw Emma's death with it too. Now, also, I didn't confirm this. I don't know if she died 12 hours after, but I think she does. But she might not, because it could have been after the meeting or something. So I'm not sure. But she might have. So I can't exactly confirm it, that he would know the death, but, you know, it might happen. Yeah, so I was thinking, well, there could be two types of theories, okay?
Now we got voice over me, again, which is not the original audio, because this audio for this sounded even worse than the mic I was using earlier. Fast and simple. I think... So I have to voice over it here. Anyway, I'm here to explain it because I explained it horribly in the recording. Not this recording that I'm recording right now. The recording where you see my hands. I explained that horribly, so I have to now explain it again more clearly. In this scenario, there are 3 types of futures, okay? But before we can really talk about the types of futures, we have to really make sure and establish there's only one timeline, one thing that gets changed. If you change something from the timeline, you change everything about the timeline. There's no multiple ones. There's no ones you can skip and dip and flip back into. There's just one. That needed to be established because if you're going in thinking there's 10 different ones, it's not going to work with my theory or whatever. Anyway, here's the first type of future, which I like to call the past future, which might make no sense, but it should make sense because the past future basically is the future that would have been if you didn't go back and change it. So think you look into the future and then you change that future. That would be the past future. Okay, this is the past future. It's the future that you changed. It's the future you can change. It's the future that already happened in that sense, and you went back and changed it. Okay? That probably doesn't make any sense. Then the second type of future is what I like to call the near future, which isn't like the past one, the past type, okay? Don't get that confused. It isn't like that. It is basically the current future. It lines up with live events. So like you could say it's the live future. You look into the future and you see the live footage of it, like a security camera, something like that. Think of it like that. So for example, if someone goes to the past and you're looking in the future at that same time as them going into the past, then you would see them currently doing what they're doing only then, because you're looking when they're going into the past, like that, you know, which just still can cause some problems. But I'm not going to talk about that because I didn't come here for that. I just came here to explain the future. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not going to talk about the third one because I'm going to talk about that later. So that's all you need to know. Supposedly, allegedly, apparently.
There's like, I consider like 3 type of futures. There's the future of the photo, the future that would happen. Then there's the second future. It's just basically the future that's about to happen right after. So let's say it's near future. So right here in episode 5, episode of season 2, we see Lu Guang trying to show Cheng how to sign home. And he's kind of struggling, or it doesn't look like he's struggling. It's more if he's just doing what, what's her name, Tunshi or something? Tunshi? Oh, I noticed I'm saying this very wrong. We're just gonna call her Shishi, like her mother calls her. Where Shishi is signing home, but she's having trouble because obviously Chen has to do it. And so I'm thinking, what if he saw the struggle and now it's Cheng up and doing it, and he's kind of just mimicking it, and that's why, you know, he kept changing and saying, oh no, nod your head, do this, put your hand here, do that, do this, who could do the fifth, you know, because if he saw the future, he would have probably knew how to sign home, but now he's kind of like iffy with it. So that's another thing that makes me think, oh well, he probably like sees some type of future, the near future or something else, you know. Yeah. But this is where I have to stop the line and really get into the final future. I don't think it's the near future. And the reason I don't think it's the near future isn't exactly because it can't be the near future. I think it could be the near future, but that wouldn't explain why he said it was his last time. Because if that were to be the case, then how would he know? That still doesn't explain the reason. My future theory in being able to tell which future Lu Guang sees, which I didn't really say, but which future Lu Guang sees, that wouldn't matter in this sense because, I mean, his powers have nothing to do with it. If he can see the near future, then he would just see the next time he jumps back in time.
Honestly, I feel like this video is just becoming more and more of me just critiquing literally my theory. But not even my theory, just the video's content. It's not even the theory itself. It's just the video's contents. I was so stuck that this was right for weeks. Or maybe like a week. I don't know. Okay, anyway, let me just tell you real quick why it's not the near future. The reason why, in my case, for why the near future can't be it, at least for this theory to prove why he said it was his last time, is because if it were to be something like the near future that he would see, then when he goes, then he wouldn't know it was his last time. Because if he looked in the future, he would have just saw himself jumping back in time again. This goes a little bit into the final future thing, but I'm just going to say this real quick because I know I'm not going to say it later. It can't be the near future because he wouldn't know it was the final future by looking into the future of the photo. Because all he would have just saw was either 1, himself jumping back in time again, or 2, he would have just already saw himself jump back in time, which wouldn't tell him why it's his last time. Unless if he's saying that from the future, then that would make sense, but I don't think he is. But then again, I don't know.
Because when he up and changed the time, it didn't hit the basketball in it, and when he said you can't go there because you're going to ruin the Death Note and they're not going to die, he was very surprised. And when he up and paused, like when he up and it happened, and he like went and said, oh no, I was just not talking to you. Now I think he was panicking. And of course, if he was panicking, that would be because, you know, it's not matching up, which is what makes me believe that the type of future that is different, that the type of future he sees is the final future.
Okay, I think and hope I solved my problem. I should be able to hear my audio normally now. I unplugged my headphones. Please. Okay, so now we're finally getting into the final future, aka the third future, which I call, as I just said, the final future. My handwriting looks totally so neat right now. Anyway, we got the final future, and as we said, we're all under the impression, at least in this case, that there's one timeline, not multiple, and if you change anything in the past, you're just changing stuff on the timeline. So basically, the final timeline is similar to a near future in the sense where you are seeing what's going to happen next. You're seeing what's going to happen next in a way in that photo. Also, in the past ones, these were supposed to be like a photo or whatever, but I didn't talk about it in my voiceover, but that's what's supposed to be a photo. It's my photo. Okay, so basically, it is the final future means you are seeing the last altered future. So the last time the timeline was altered from that photo. To explain, for an example, think you might have a photo. Like let's do the one with Tanchi. I think's her name. Oh my goodness, it is not Tanchi. Just throw me out the window. I think it's Tanchi though. Okay, this is the Tanchi photo where she's up and taking a picture with her mom. Okay, let's say that in the whole entire universe, okay, in that timeline, the current timeline, this timeline, okay, people jump back to change the future 4 different times, okay? They change future 4 different times. This is not supposed to be points on a timeline. This is just supposed to be 4 different times it was changed. The first, second, third, and the fourth, okay? I'm just saying 4 because I want to. So, okay, let's say that Cheng Xiaoshi and Lu Guang jump back, I don't know. They jump back the 3rd time. They are the 3rd time that the timeline got altered, okay? The 3rd time. They are the 3rd time that this photo has been used to change the future. Or this period has been changed, okay? They are the 3rd time it's been changed. So Lu Guang sees into the future. And so the question is, what future does he see? He doesn't see the future for when the first person went back in time. He doesn't see the future for when the second person comes back in time. He doesn't even see the future for when he went back in time. Or Cheng Xiaoshi or whatever. He sees the future for when the last person went back in time. That's what I think he sees. Okay? Boom. Done. Hopefully that's simple and easy to understand. Okay? Boom. We done.
Now, how you would calculate this, like how you know the final time was altered, that can be a little confusing. Maybe it's like I don't know if you know about the theory. I don't know heavy duty about it, and I don't know what it's called either. But the theory where time happens all at once, where everything is happening at once. And so maybe it's something like that. And in that sense, it would be like, oh, well, whoever changed it last. I guess it could be something like that. I guess. But then it would be like, who's first, last, second. That's a little confusing. I haven't really jumped in there, and I haven't really thought about it. Maybe I need to jump there. But that's just what I could think would happen. And so my thing is to see the final theory. And so, if it was a final theory where he sees the last future, if he sees a future and where it gets altered the last time, then that would make sense why Lu Wang pushes Cheng so much to keep the timelines the same. Because it would mess everything up. It would not exactly mess everything up, but it would prove to him again, we are not on the final timeline. So he's like, hey, don't mess this up. Don't change this up. Because then he'd be like, well, that means we're going to go back in time again. You see? And then it'll be like, oh, well, I can't even achieve my goal. It's kind of pushing him farther away, which we'll get into later with some other stuff, I think I said. But yeah. And we can kind of see already stuff like this happening where you don't want to go back in time because it'll change the timeline and it'll do this and it'll ruin my chance. Like when Cheng says to his mom, or when Cheng's mom says to him, this is not word for word, but this is close enough to word for word. When he says, any change can negatively affect my plan, when telling him, hey, don't mess with the future anymore, so I can essentially save your dad, because assuming he's dead. I mean, they phrased it like he was. And so I think that's kind of something that he's doing there. And so me putting this here was kind of just a way to be like, they're already toying with this idea. So, he might be doing the same. So you don't change the time, so like you can't mess it up, which I think is pretty odd, or not obvious, but I think it's something, they want to do or show. And for example, also too, Lu Guang seeing Chang on the cameras, which is actually a very big piece of evidence for at least the near future, for the future he sees being the near future or the final future. It could also be the current future being changed, but then that would make everything a whole timeline, but I'll get into that when I explain it. In season 1, episode 9, where he's at the I think the detective's office, or I forgot his name, but the detective in the series, and he asked to look at the security footage, and pretty sure at that time Chang is basically there currently changing the past as he's in there, and he sees him on the security cameras. So we'll continue from this page. And I wanted to give not some more evidence exactly, but kind of like some evidence that could steer towards me being correct. With my slide of plot restricting Lu Guang's powers. We see quite frequently of them wanting to restrict what he can see. Some of it is because it said this, and other times I'm like, come on. But all of them make sense. And so I'll just list these down because I don't really have much to say. When he's injured, he can't see a full 12 hours. And of course, when they were in the hospital, that would have been a really good time where he could see a full like 12 hours in the future. I don't know how much time he can see in the future. I'm assuming it's not a lot at all. But he can't see a full 12 hours in the future, which makes me believe, like, come on. You were trying to make it so that Tan Chen could up and give him the photo. So, come on. Then Lu getting camera blindness. He always again camera blindness, being like, I can't see right there because there's no camera over there. So he couldn't up and see when Emma up and died. Couldn't up and see that or anything to like stop him. Couldn't see any of that because he couldn't see the cameras weren't there. This looks like a one word. Forget it. He can only see through security cameras. The whole concept in general is just like, come on. He can only see through security cameras. Like, it's helpful, but at the same time, it can be very restricting based on where he can. And when I say this, I mean he can only see it when he looks through security footage. So in conclusion, I think that they are trying to make it us not see it so that they won't spoil anything for us, so that they won't reveal the truth of the plot, because hey, this kind of stops it. If he could see ahead of time and he could see Shishi, like the time flipping thing when he went back and he had to experience, the stuff with his mom and dad, he couldn't up and get out and say, hey, Chang, you need to jump out because it seems like it'll be a little too much for you. He didn't have to up and see all that. He didn't up and know about that, because if he did, according to him, he would have brought him out. Anyway, I just wanted to put that there just, to show some things that could possibly have strengthened my theory if we actually saw the full things. Sorry, I noticed this here. I'm wondering if I should blur it or not. Let's go back. Next, we're getting into why Bryden is not the current timeline. I really believe it is not the current timeline. In fact, I believe it is the first time he goes back in time, but honestly, I believe it's the second time he goes back in time. But honestly, I don't know. Or one of the other times. It's one of them. Then I say bring in Davis 10. Which I kind of want to bring it in anymore because I really don't believe it's true anymore. But I'll up and say it just to say it.
Yeah, and I'm just not going to up and put this in. I'm just going to cut this out because honestly, this piece of evidence is just not good at all. To summarize it real quick, it's basically just talking about in Bryden arc, he was basically having flashbacks to something from past timelines or the past timeline, and basically the one with Felix on it where it showed the billboard and it had a white tint. Basically, I thought it could have been the future that he saw, the final future. So yeah, but based on how he said it, it doesn't seem like that's likely. So yeah, we're going next. Skip it. Also, this video is way too long and it needs to be shortened. So anything helps.
I just think this isn't important anymore. But I still have more theories for why the Bryden arc isn't the final, okay? That doesn't mean this is completely gone. This was just evidence 10, which could have changed everything here. It could have just completely changed everything here if this was true, but I don't think it's true. But here's a piece of evidence that is true, kinda ish in a sense. Lu Guang says to Vane that he can't stop him, but he can postpone his plan, which isn't exactly what he said. I actually got exactly what he says right here. I can't stop destiny, but I can delay it. That's what he said in the dub. I don't know what he said in the Chinese sub. I don't know what he said. I didn't look there, but I bet he said something similar to those lines. But he's basically saying, "Hey, you can't stop the future, but I can delay it. Why delay it? Why don't you try to change it? If you can keep going back in time, then how are you going to delay the future?" Which leads me to believe he already knows the future, and he's trying to maybe push it back, maybe give him some more time to think, because, like, he might not be able to change the future, but if the future is different, he can kind of some sort of way delay it. That then leads me to that the timelines have been postponed. By how much? I won't say it. We will get there. Actually, in the next page, we'll get there, because it's right here. Okay, sorry. It's right here. Critical event being postponed. And then we got my favorite thing in this series, this phone. This phone, I got a little creation of it. I colored it, there's Tetris. This main thing is supposed to be Cheng's death getting postponed. And specifically, how much time I think is getting postponed. So first we gotta talk about this phone. This was a phone that, what's his name? Let me search up his name. I don't want to call him manipulator. I don't even want to call him manipulator. Let me find his name. Lu Xiao. Okay, Lu Xiao. That's his name. This is Lu Xiao's phone in the last episode of Bride and Arc. And he's playing this whatever Tetris X game, and this is a really important phone to me. It really shows something weird. If you look at the date that he got his highest score, I don't know how high score this is in the game, but when you look at his best point, his best score, you see it happened on the 12th of September 2024. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it said December 9th, 2024. But no, it didn't. Sorry. I'm reading it the American way, guys. I'm reading the American way. I know it's not the American way. Other countries read the mess like that. I don't know, because most people don't, I think. So I wonder who else reads it like that. But this is how I read it. But, people said, guys, we're not even in America. And no one reads it like that. So this is actually the 12th of September, 2024. And so, obviously, I looked. This was one of the most looking I ever looked for a theory or whatever. And I kept looking and I was like, guys, what do you think this phone is going on here? It says 12/9/2024. This can't be an Easter egg. And now I did look a long time ago. It was when the last episode happened or something, because I was looking for theories and I didn't even know this phone thing happened because I'm not very observant, as you can see, I guess. But I was looking and I did, it was so conflicted. Some people were saying, no, it was just an Easter egg. That's just when someone up and got their best score, or everything else. But I'm like, they had to write down the day. They had to screen it. They had to give it the green check. Then someone had to color it and everything else and do this, that, and the other. Heavy Duty showed this too. And what did they say? The real people aren't behind the screen when it happens. I don't know, but hopefully I'll put it in. But he says something of that lines just to be yeah, it's nothing. It's just an Easter egg. If it's an Easter egg, then come on. But there's something very important about this day. There's something very important about the 9th of September. And you want to know what's so important about that? Well, if we look back to the beginning of Bride and Arc, and we look and see when he went back in time to save Cheng, what date was that? Oh my goodness, guys, I got this wrong. It's the 12th of September. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so goofy. It's the 12th of September. Ignore that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can't. I don't even know if you can see this. It was the 13th of September. 005 aka 1205, if you don't go by a military time. And that, oh, AM, just so you know, well, you could tell it's AM. But here is the weird, strange thing about it. These dates are quite similar. Why? And that means, and we all know that he's more than most likely related somehow to his death. So, that's kind of weird. Why does he have his death remembered? Now, this goes into a whole nother theory in how I think maybe he can bring stuff back in time. Like, this is the reminder saying, hey, he dies on this day. You better be like ready before then, or this is the day he should die, or something. But here's the weird about it. You know, you would think then maybe it happened in the year 2024. He died in the year 2024, which maybe, and I actually agree. This could be basically the date showing that he will die in 2024. It could not. I can't confirm, I can't deny, I can't do this, that, and the other. But what I do know is that it's kind of weird that it's 2020. Oh wait, it's green? Let me turn this off because I just realized it was green. That would have gotten my nerves so much. If it happened in the year of 2024, then that would mean it would happen 3 years. No, not 3 years. Yes, 3 years. 3 years after the current time of the series, which would be interesting. But that doesn't really go with my postponing theory. Even if this is true, it means he's going to die 3 years in the future, which isn't really changing anything. You know, it's not really changing anything. So, here is where it all gets interesting, okay? So, I'll start it off with this because I'm going to. Although when we first see him go back in time in Brighton Arc, the year is blurred, it's kinda not always blurred. If you see the nightmare he had, we will see him up in kind of like their season 1 attire where he's like, wake up, Guang, what's wrong? You're in a bad dream, you know, you're in a bad dream. And then you'll up and see his watch. And you want to know what his watch says? It says September 13th. 2021. Now, it's a weird date to have there. And it also says 1205. This is the exact date he went back in time. The exact date he went back in time. But finally, after 10,000 years, we got a date. And it's 2021. The year the original series started. Is that not weird to you? That's making me think that he died in the year 2021. Oh, I just realized you can see my note sheet. You don't need the spoilers, guys, yet. You don't need spoilers yet. Even though I think I literally up and said everything here. And so, because of that, I think he has postponed the death 3 years in advance. So, it would happen in 2024. Now, you might be like, okay, well, I have a problem with your postponing years. And I think I heard this before, but it's like, you know, when like Shaoling and they go back in 2018, he's on a trip with Chung Chao-shi, but it could easily just be he went on the trip earlier because Brighton happens in 2019, but this time it could have just happened in 2018 where he went to Brighton. You know, so, you know, that's all that could have happened, and that's what I think it is. Yeah, I think the year he died was in 2021, which if he did die in 2021, then there's already a good chance that they have outlived that day. And even if he didn't, then it could be possible that this date that he died hasn't happened yet in the series. I don't think we have a date confirmation for what day of the week it is.
We probably have somewhere of a close estimate for what date it is, or month, or whatever, but what I do know is it's sometime after October of 2021. Probably like in November-ish, but I don't know.
Or what month it is. It's clearly sometime in fall, because they're in their fall clothes. But, I mean, it could not have happened yet, or it could have already passed. Like, he kind of beat it, possibly, and now it's, like, postponed. But I don't know. That's just me. That's me coming together. And, of course, this is the third star, which goes more on the fall. Okay, the similar clothes worn by the trio at the end of season 2 in Brighton Arc, one being 2019 while the other is 2021. At the end of Brighton Arc, or the end of season 2, we see the clothes they wear. And they just like some normal clothes. It's like jumped past, like his bullet is healed. It's whatever. It's whatever. But at the end of Brighton arc, we also see outfits that are pretty similar. It's like maybe less detailed versions of it. And Guang looks the exact same. He looks the exact same. But it's like less detailed. Is this trying to show that like we're at the same part in like both series? Is this trying to like be, hey, this is the equivalent of the same time as it is at the end of season 2? That's weird. Why does this all matter? Let's say he sees a final timeline. Let's say he sees a final future. Let's say all of this stuff actually happened. Why does it matter? And that's, not too hard of a question to answer. Think. Let's say he sees a final timeline. It would know the ultimate, the end, the future that would happen. Well, if he knew the future, then why would he know that it's his last time he can go back? Well, that's simple. He looked into the future, the timeline, and everything added up. At some point in this time, he probably looked into the future of the photo that he consistently, or at least once, has jumped back in time again. And at some point, if this were to be true, he probably realized that the events don't really add up at all. Like, he keeps seeing the same future of the photo, but nothing's really lining up. And so, what might have happened is he eventually realized, hey, this is like the final timeline. Like the final time I'll go back. And maybe what's happening is the lines and things completely added up with what he saw. And so now he's like, wait a second. This is like word for word, like picture to picture, what I have seen. Could this possibly mean that I'm not going to go back again? Is this the last time I go back? And so that's why he knows it's his last time, because he's not going to be able to go back to that photo again. Now, you can also say, well, why can't you just take another photo and then just go back in time from then? Well, that is true, but it's kind of like his last full reset. You could say that. Because, like, you could go back after that moment, take another picture and go back then, but at that point, he's already heavy-duty met Chung Cheshire.
Also, his camera broke, so he couldn't just go and take a bunch of pictures after and then just save it for later if he needs to use it again.
Well, that's the first time he can go back. That's the only time he can go back and never have met him. It's kind of like the start of it all. So it's his last time he has a full reset. And if that was the case, and this is true, then that begs the question, well, why did he jump back? Why did he not go back again? Which I guess could give 3 different answers. One, it could be, of course, the most hopeful, in the case that he saved him. So he didn't need to go back because he survived and he lived. It could be 2, where it's like maybe he just gave up, said, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to live my life. 3, I don't know if I said 3, but I have 4 reasons. 3, it could be something like him saying, hey, I died, so he can't go back in time. Or 4, it could be he lost the photo and he can't go back because of that. No matter what, all the scenarios could have happened if this were to be the case, and there's probably multiple more that could have happened too, and be the reason. But personally, if this theory is true that he sees the final future, I think it could change a bunch of junk about the series, which is why I shared it. So I hope you enjoyed the video because it's over now. And I'm done. I have an hour to record, so I'm gonna be on this forever. I recorded this on the 25th of August, but it's probably not coming until September. I should make this come out on September the 9th. People, if I don't due date, I must finish this before September the 9th because I'm going to be posting it on September the 9th. Or not the 9th, the 12th. I should do it on the 9th for a meme because I keep saying it's the 12th. Anyway, that's it though. Thank you for watching this video and this theory that I've been working on for about a month because I had to rewatch the series first. Yeah, I'm excited for season 3. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed.
Hello everyone, and you have made it to the end of the video. I don't know if you've seen my last videos, but now it seems like it's going to be a tradition to have some part of me talking about nothing at the end of a video. So I actually do have some stuff to say. These are all like theories / interesting topics I didn't add in a video because 1, this video is too long, even though I'm literally putting it in here, but I decided to put it at the end. Also, I'm wondering if I should split this into like parts, like videos, because honestly, it's so long. But anyway, let's forget about that. I'm going back to this. Basically, I just want to talk about some theories. So earlier, I was talking about how Shang Xiaoshi could have a new possible like death date awaiting for him in 2024. So I wanted to talk about like just a little bit the bears to the bears, because I don't really want to get into this. Maybe I'll make another video like literally just on the phone. But basically, I have like a theory that I've had for a bit, which connects to what's his name? I think his name is Lu Xiao or something, where basically he has a power to send stuff in the past, and the date for like best date would more insinuate how many years he's gone back. So like the best way I can describe it is like, think of a phone that has no internet. No internet, it is not connected to any like time-based system on the phone. It would continue to build up time in years no matter what the day was. So for example, like let's say you had no internet, okay? You had no internet and you have daylight savings where the times go forward and backwards and whatever. Your time would be inaccurate years later because it wasn't connected to any of the modern times and you didn't change it for daylight savings or anything. So it would be inaccurate. So for example, if it got so long and bad, it might be 2025 in real time, but it's 2024 on your phone, you know? So I was like, what if that's something he did where he doesn't have any internet on the phone or something, and he goes back in time and basically like it's kind of like a time place, like a timestamp, if he could like bring objects back in time, basically. So basically, to simplify it in what I'm basically saying it could either mean his death date would be in 2024, or his next death date would be in 2024, or it could mean that 2 years or 3 years have passed since you first went back in time. Okay, possibly. Which could mean, because if you want to see, 2021 and 2024, that's like a 3-year difference. So this is where it kind of gets like to a problem. It's like a 3-year difference. So let's say he went back in time to when the photo was taking place. I don't know when it was, and I honestly don't feel like searching it up. So I'll find out, or I won't. I probably won't, because this is unscripted. I don't really say anything for here. But maybe he'll find out in 2018 and 2001. No, that is a 3-year difference. So, you could say that Bride and Arc then was the first time he went back in time. So, I'm not sure. I just want to put that in there. And I just want to talk about one more thing, which is I have basically nothing to support this. But in the third season PV, we see that Lu and Chong Xiaoshi have met when they were like little kids, at least before. And so I was wondering, like, why would they have met? Like, I was thinking more like, what is Lu's backstory? And I just came up with this, it's not in a theory. It's at this point, it's just like, honestly, some mess I made up. Like, there's like, what if Lu was actually a student in Bahati, then he went on this field trip or something, and that's why Chang's with them, because like, they were meeting up, and then like, I don't know, they like met, talked for 5 seconds. Since they're over there for 5 seconds, they're a field trip. Like, some people forgot, others didn't. And I'm not going to go into the heavy duty, like the PV and theory making for it. I might make one eventually. But they talked, they did their junk, they left, they never saw each other again. Then he left Bahati one day. That would be why he knows Lu Xiao and Bryden. And I mean, a reason other than maybe somehow he learned him while he was trying to figure out why he died, since he probably have to do that before. But that could be a reason why he knows him. That could be a reason. So, that's it though. Even though in the trailer, okay, well, he could have still been part of Bahati before he like got his tattoo. I don't know. That's just all food for thought for me, and maybe you if you're ever watching this. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. I'm gonna go now because I don't want this video to be 10 extra hours long. So bye.